It's about what we've been chosen to do. We can't turn back now. The team didn't respond, but they knew he was right. There was no turning back. The Queen's gift had already set them on a path, and whether they were ready or not, they had to follow it. The staircase led them to a massive stone archway, its edges lined with the same shifting symbols that had covered the pillars in the clearing. The arch seemed to hum with energy, like a gateway to something far beyond their understanding. Dorian stepped forward and placed his hand against the cold stone, feeling the energy flow through him. It was a sensation unlike anything he had ever felt. The archway seemed to respond, and with a low rumbling sound, it slowly began to shift, the stone moving to reveal a hidden chamber. Beyond, the cavern was silent, except for the soft hum of the crystal. Dorian could feel its power calling to him, urging him to step forward. The crystal was enormous, its glowing surface shifting in patterns that seemed to change with every blink. It was unlike anything he had ever seen before, a living, breathing entity in the heart of Salaf. Dorian took a deep breath and slowly approached the crystal. The air around it felt warmer, thicker, as if the crystal was drawing the energy from the planet itself. He could feel it now. The heartbeat of Salaf pulsing steadily beneath his feet, resonating with the energy that filled the cavern. Alara and Cade stood a few steps behind him, both watching him with a mix of awe and caution. They had followed him this far, but now the true weight of the journey was becoming clear to them. What had they stumbled upon? What was the Queen's true purpose in bringing them here? "I don't like this," Cade muttered, his voice low. "This place feels wrong. It's like the planet is alive, but it's waiting for something. We're not ready for." Dorian didn't answer right away. He couldn't explain what he was feeling. The power of the crystal was overwhelming, but at the same time, it felt natural, like it was meant to be part of him. He reached out a hand, his fingers just inches from the surface of the crystal. "Don't touch it," Alara warned, her voice tense. "What if it's dangerous?" Dorian shook his head. "I can't explain it, but I need to do this. I feel like this is what the Queen wanted me to find. We've come this far, and I don't think we have any choice but to trust her." Cade stepped forward, his hand still gripping the hilt of his weapon. "I still think this is a mistake. If anything goes wrong before he could finish," the crystal began to pulse more intensely, as if it had heard Cad's words. The light from within the crystal grew brighter, casting long shadows across the cavern. The ground beneath their feet trembled slightly, and a low rumble filled the air like the sound of distant thunder. Dorian stepped closer, his hand finally touching the crystal's smooth, warm surface. The instant his fingers made contact, a flood of images and sensations crashed into his mind. His vision blurred, and the world around him seemed to melt away. He was no longer in the cavern, but somewhere else, a place that was both familiar and unknown. He saw a vast landscape, its horizons stretching far beyond what the eye could see. Towering mountains, dense forests, and endless oceans stretched across the planet, all connected by the same pulse of energy that flowed through the crystal. He felt the planet's lifeblood, its heartbeat, its energy all coursing through him. The land was alive, its essence intertwined with the crystal, which had been placed at the very heart of Salaf to protect it, to keep it in balance. He felt the rise and fall of empires that had once ruled the planet, civilizations that had come and gone, leaving their mark on the land. He saw the Queen not as a single being, but as a part of something greater, a guardian of the planet tied to its very core. But with that knowledge came a sudden, overwhelming sense of urgency. Something was wrong. The balance was shifting. The crystal was losing its power, its connection to the planet weakening. Dorian felt the ground beneath him tremble again, and this time it was stronger, more violent. The cavern seemed to groan as if it were in pain. The images stopped, and Dorian was jolted back into reality. He gasped, pulling his hand away from the crystal as though it had burned him. His body was shaking, and his heart was racing. The power that had flowed through him moments ago was gone, leaving him feeling hollow and cold. "Dorian," Ella called out, her voice full of worry. "What happened? What did you see?" Dorian swallowed hard, trying to regain his composure. He could feel the connection to the crystal still lingering, but the knowledge was fading, slipping away like sand through his fingers. The Queen's voice echoed in his mind, soft but filled with urgency. "The time is near. The balance is shifting. You must act quickly before it is too late." He blinked, trying to focus. "We need to move," he said, his voice strained. "Something's happening. The crystal's connection to the planet is weakening. It's like it's dying." Cabe's eyes narrowed. "What do you mean dying? How can a crystal die?" Dorian turned to him, his face grim. "It's not just a crystal, it's the heart of Zoth. If it dies, the planet dies with it." The deep rumbling from the chasm grew louder, shaking the very walls of the cavern. Dorian felt the ground beneath his feet tremble with each passing moment, as if the planet itself was fighting against something. Beneath them, the crystal, once a steady source of power, flickered erratically. Its pulse growing weaker, the air was thick with tension, and Dorian could feel the fear building in the pit of his stomach. What is that? Cad's voice was tight with concern as he scanned the dark chasm. It sounds like something's coming. Dorian didn't need to look to know that something dangerous was emerging from the depths. The vibrations in the cavern were growing stronger, and the air was growing hotter. Whatever was coming wasn't just an earthquake, it was something alive, something that had been dormant for too long. We need to move, Dorian said, urgently turning toward the entrance of the cavern. The crystal is dying, and if we don't fix this, Taloth is going to fall. Ara stepped forward, her eyes wide with determination. What do we do? How do we stop whatever is coming? Dorian clenched his fists, trying to steady his racing thoughts. He could still feel the Queen's voice in his mind, faint but insistent. The crystal is the key. Restore the balance. You must find the source of the disturbance. But how? The crystal was weakening, and whatever was stirring in the chasm was drawing closer with every passing second. They had no time to waste. We need to find the source of the disturbance, Dorian said, his voice grim. It's coming from deep within the planet. Whatever is causing this is tied to the crystal. If we don't stop it, everything we've seen will be lost. Ar nodded. Then let's go. We can't waste any more time. The team made their way toward the chasm, the ground beneath them shaking violently as they stepped carefully across the cracked floor. The air felt heavy, charged with energy, and Dorian could feel the presence of whatever was coming closer. He reached out, his senses stretched to their limit, trying to understand what they were up against. They reached the edge of the chasm, peering into the dark abyss below. The sound of a low growl echoed from the depths, making the hairs on the back of Dorian's neck stand on end. Something was down there, something huge. He couldn't see it, but he could feel its presence. Its power. The disturbance was coming from deep within the planet, and it was spreading. It's too dark to see, Cade muttered, squinting into the blackness. What are we supposed to do now? We have to go down, Dorian said, his voice unwavering. The crystal is at the heart of Saloth, and whatever is causing the disturbance is tied to it. If we can get to the heart of the planet, we might be able to fix what's broken. Without another word, Dorian turned and led the way down into the chasm. The darkness was overwhelming, but he could still feel the crystal's faint pulse guiding him. It was as if the planet itself was pulling him closer, urging him to move deeper into its core. The path was narrow and treacherous, with jagged rocks and loose stones that threatened to send them tumbling into the abyss below. That grew hotter, and the deeper they went, the more Dorian felt the weight of the disturbance pressing against him. Whatever was causing the disturbance was powerful, and it was only growing stronger. We need to hurry, Ella said, her voice strained as she tried to keep up. I don't like the feeling of this place. Dorian didn't respond. His focus was entirely on the path ahead. He could feel the pulse of energy growing stronger, leading him deeper into the chasm. He didn't know what they would find at the bottom, but he knew they couldn't stop now. The Queen had entrusted them with this task, and he wasn't about to fail. Finally, after what felt like an eternity of descending, they reached a massive underground chamber. The walls were lined with glowing crystals, their light dim but steady. In the center of the chamber was another crystal, even larger than the one they had seen in the cavern, but unlike the other, this one was cracked, its surface darkened and shattered. This is it, Dorian whispered, his voice filled with awe and dread. The source of the disturbance. The crystal's broken surface seemed to pulse with a dark energy, and Dorian could feel it pressing against him, filling the chamber with an oppressive weight. The planet was in pain, and it was coming from this crystal. He stepped forward, his heart pounding in his chest. They had to fix this, or all of Saloth would be lost. How do we fix it? Kate asked, his voice strained. It's already broken. Can we even fix something like this? The shadow that began to form from the broken crystal was unlike anything Dorian had ever seen. It was massive, swirling with dark energy, its shape shifting as though it was not fully formed. It was an entity of pure darkness with an almost tangible presence that filled the chamber with a cold, suffocating air. The planet seemed to groan beneath their feet as the shadow began to take shape, and Dorian could feel the oppressive weight of its power pressing down on him. What is that? Cade whispered, his voice filled with both fear and awe. What's happening? Dorian didn't answer immediately. His mind was racing. He could feel the pulse of the crystal, now broken and leaking dark energy, calling to him. But this wasn't the same feeling he had experienced before. The energy here was dangerous, twisted. It was the source of the disturbance, and it was awakening. The shadow moved toward them, its form slowly becoming clearer, a giant dark creature with glowing red eyes that seemed to pierce through the darkness. It was a creature of pure malice, its body made of the same shadowy energy that radiated from the broken crystal. Dorian's heart pounded as he realized what it was. It's a guardian, he said quietly, his voice filled with disbelief. A guardian of the crystal, but something's wrong. It's been corrupted, the crystal's broken. And now this thing is free. Heir stepped closer to Dorian, her face pale. What do we do now? How do we stop it? Dorian clenched his fists, trying to steady himself. The queen's voice echoed in his mind, soft but clear. The balance is fragile. You must restore the crystal. Only then can the guardian be sealed. He turned to face his team, determination in his eyes. We can't fight it like this. We need to fix the crystal. If we can restore it, we can seal the guardian again. But the shadow creature wasn't waiting. With a roar that seemed to shake the very walls of the chamber, it lunged forward, its claws reaching for them with incredible speed. The air crackled with dark energy, and the ground beneath them seemed to crack and shift. Cade was the first to react. He raised his weapon, but as he fired, the bullets passed harmlessly through the shadow as if it was made of mist. The creature growled, its eyes glowing brighter, and it swung its massive claw toward them. Alar, dove out of the way, pulling Dorian along with her, narrowly avoiding the strike. Dorian, Alara shouted, we don't have much time. We need to fix the crystal now. Dorian nodded, his mind still reeling from the shock of what was happening. The guardian's presence was overwhelming, but he couldn't afford to be afraid. He had to act. The crystal was their only chance. He turned back to the broken crystal at the center of the chamber, its dark energy swirling around it like a storm. He could feel the power radiating from it, but it was twisted and corrupted. The planet was dying, and if they didn't fix the crystal, everything would be lost. Dorian stepped forward, his hand outstretched, trying to connect with the crystal once more. The moment his fingers made contact, a wave of energy surged through him. It was the same power he had felt before, but now it was chaotic and unstable. The crystal's pulse was weak, struggling to stay alive. Come on, Dorian muttered to himself, his voice tight with determination. I have to fix this. As he focused on the crystal, the shadows around them seemed to grow darker, thicker. The guardian hissed, sensing his connection to the crystal. It charged at him, but Dorian didn't move. He was determined to reach the core of the crystal to restore the balance before it was too late. Suddenly,